everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about flooding that could be across a lot of the southeast over the next about 2 weeks. Generally the east coast we will be seeing a lot of rain, but the southeast especially, it's looking like we could be seeing a lot for you. So we're going to go ahead and cover that today. So we're going to go ahead and start with the CPC, but actually before we do, consider subscribing and leaving a like down below. If you do enjoy it, would greatly be appreciated. And let's go ahead and get into today's video. So we're going to be looking at the CPC, or Climate Prediction Center, 6 to 10 day outlook for precipitation. And you can see how we have our best chance of above average precipitation across a lot of the Gulf of Mexico, especially parts of eastern Louisiana and Florida, parts of the Panhandle. But really, if you go across all the southeast, we are expecting quite a bit of precipitation over the next 2 weeks, and it could really get bad. But if we do look across these areas, it's below average. So that's what we're seeing there. But we're going to focus on the above average today, and maybe in another video I'll talk about maybe the below average, or I probably will talk about the temperatures up here soon. But let's go ahead and move on to the GFS model. So you can see right here, right now we are already seeing flooding. I know in Savannah, Georgia today we saw a lot of flooding. It's still happening. And so this is actually, this is pre-recorded because I do have school tomorrow. So most likely, I don't know if y'all will be out of the rain by the time you see this tomorrow. You might be, but it's looking like you're going to be back in the rain, of course, tomorrow, just with daytime heating. But they did flood on our Wednesday, and a lot of the South Carolina coast and Georgia coast did flood. Also, as we moved into parts of New Orleans, we had quite a bit of rain today. And also, as we moved into a lot of areas of Florida, we saw a lot of rain today. So, really, across a lot of these areas, we've saw a lot of rain or flooding today, and it's not been a good sight. But it's gonna be like that for a little bit. So you can see how tomorrow it's the same deal pretty much. Actually, yeah, this would be around tomorrow, around your Thursday. So this is what your Thursday could be looking like, and you can see we do have some storms up across the upper plains, so that's something to look at, because remember, they were supposed to be in above average precipitation too. I just don't think it'll be as bad, but we do have to look at that too, because we did already see some flooding there this spring, so I would not be surprised if we saw some more. So we will need to talk about that too, but we're going to just do the southeast today. I just do want to cover that just to tell y'all. But as you can see tomorrow, same areas getting really heavy rain again. And you can see that low pressure is right over the Georgia-South Carolina border. So it's going to be pumping a lot of moisture across a lot of the southeast in those areas across the coast. So that's what we're seeing on your Thursday. Now as we move into Friday, you can see how we still have rain across a lot of the southeast coast in the same area. So Savannah, Georgia, Hilton Head Island, and South Carolina, expect flooding, a lot of rain, which could lead to a lot of flooding. So we need to be aware there, because we could be seeing a lot there. And you can see how we do have a lot of this rain near the Gulf, near the Florida, western coast of Florida. That we're going to watch. It's going to go up the east coast and cause a lot of problems. But you can see how on your Friday, it's still rainy in the same spots across a lot of the southeast coast. Now, as we move into your Saturday, you can see how we have rain across the same areas once again. Really heavy rain also. This isn't light rain. And you can see it extends all the way from Louisiana up to North Carolina, up to the North Carolina coast. As you can see, this moisture does start to move out of the Gulf of Mexico up this way. So we will be looking at that as it goes up the whole East Coast, as you'll see in a minute. But this is going to be on our Sunday, so you can see how this moisture does definitely move out of the Gulf. We still are seeing a lot of rain across a lot of the southeast, especially Georgia, Alabama, Florida Panhandle, maybe even parts of South Carolina still. So South Carolina and Georgia I'm really concerned about, especially. And also the Florida Panhandle and Louisiana I'm very scared about. But as you can see on our this would be on our Monday, or this would actually be on Sunday night. And you can see we do have a lot of rain that pops up around here, around the Virginias, and then we have a lot across the southeast. Now, whether this is a lot of daytime heating adding on to the moisture, we will have to see. But right now it's looking like it's not all daytime heating. We will be seeing a lot of moisture that is actually coming out of the Gulf. And you can see how by around, I think it is Monday, we actually do have moisture across the whole southeast, from North Carolina to Louisiana to Florida to Alabama, also to Georgia, South Carolina. That's what we're seeing there. So it's not just going to be in a few states. It's going to be in all of the states. So as you can see, as we move on to Tuesday, we see another bit of moisture. I think this was the moisture from the Gulf. So this was the moisture that did come from the Gulf, and it's moving up the East Coast. You can see how it does bring a lot of rains to North Carolina and Virginia. Now the question is, will it take something like this track, or will it take something like this track? I'm not saying it's going to be fully, I'm not going to say it's going to be a named tropical system, not expecting that, but it will bring a lot of rains with it, which is usually the only thing that matters. But you can see, we do see a lot of rain a lot of rain across a lot of these areas. Maybe in the mid-Atlantic by your Tuesday and Wednesday we're seeing it too. And then finally it moves off the coast before hitting a lot of the northeast. And you can see we have a lot of rain still by Thursday that is across the southeast. You can see right here we have a lot of rain in these areas, especially like North Carolina and the Florida Panhandle. We're seeing a lot of rain starting to move in. And you can see how by around your Thursday night and Friday, we have a lot of rain across North Carolina once again. So North Carolina, by next week, we could be seeing a lot of rain for them too. And you can see once again around Friday night, we're seeing it. But you can see this is this is showing you what it's really going to look like for a while. So you can see all this rain across the southeast, and this is what we have been talking about. But especially a lot of these areas and a lot of these areas are going to be seeing quite a bit of flooding if this does play out. So you can see as we move on, this is when this really gets crazy, around Saturday. Okay, you can see how we have all this moisture that's coming up the southeast, also moving into North Carolina from the Gulf. And you can see it looks pretty bad. And you can also see how we have this tropical something off of the western coast of Florida once again. So that's what we're seeing, and you'll see how it does move north and does cause quite a few problems throughout the day. So you can see how we get a lot of rain across the southeast just for all of next week pretty much. And you can see how bad it does get. And finally, maybe by the end of August, maybe we get a little break, but then you got to think of more tropical systems coming. So the southeast, it's looking concerning because we really haven't even saw any hurricanes or anything across the southeast yet, and we're already seeing a lot of systems that could cause a lot of problems, which is really concerning. That is not a good sign, and we haven't even had any hurricanes hitting. But it's looking like we did see those two systems, or disturbances that did come out of the Gulf. So that is a sign of things to come. Now, if that second one is tropical, we will have to see. Some other models are making it tropical, and you can see how it did bring a lot of moisture with it. So that's what we're seeing. And as we move on to the total accumulated precipitation, you can see what I was talking about with all this rain across the southeast. Some areas of the Mississippi coast, Alabama coast, Florida Panhandle, there is about a foot of rain. And pretty much across all the southeast, we should be expecting anywhere from 5 to 10 inches, maybe even a foot in some areas. So that is going to be pretty bad. And you can see even off the coast, on the coast of North Carolina, there's about a foot of rain. So it's not something to joke around with, because this could be pretty bad. Okay, so this is right now with the European model. We'll go a little faster on this because it's pretty much the same thing short term. You can see how we had a lot of rain today across a lot of the southeast coast. Into your Thursday, it's going to be the same exact thing. And you can see, once again, there's going to be something off the coast right here that could be, off the Gulf Coast, in the Gulf, that could be doing something. and it'll be really soon. So you can see by Friday, this does move a little bit northeast, this little disturbance, and across the southeast, especially just the coastal areas, we are seeing a lot of this rain. And as we move into your Saturday, this is when things start to ramp up a lot. So you can see how we get a lot of this rain to move across Florida, especially the northern parts of Florida. And then as we move into the coast across the southeast right there, you can see how intense these rains will be getting for a lot of these areas. So as we move into Saturday night, this is not good for Saturday night. So at night, we could be seeing something making landfall. I'm not saying it's a tropical system, but it looks like it could become one. We will have to watch this. But it's looking like the second one will be the worst. Now, this one, I don't really think we will see, but sometimes we do get these unexpected systems. They don't say anything about them, then they just put a tropical depression out. So it's not unusual especially this time of year. You can get something to pop up like that. But you can see how this does move across Georgia and South Carolina with a lot of rain falling by your Sunday, and pretty much the whole southeast is getting a lot of moisture from this. And as we move into your Sunday night, that rain does move from South Carolina to the North Carolina, the mountains. Now, this is when things really do get intense. This is what I saw the worst of. And you can see how we get a lot of that bullseye rain. And then you can see Charlotte, if this moves just a little bit east, Charlotte, North Carolina could be in a lot of flooding. Now, earlier this year, we saw a lot of flooding across a lot of these areas in the mountains. So, look which track this takes throughout Monday. It takes almost the same exact track as where we saw that really bad flooding. So we will have to see, because this looks very concerning for a lot of these areas in North Carolina, especially the mountainous regions. I would not be surprised if we see landslides. But you can see how intense it does get. Really intense rainfall rates. Would not be surprised if we see a lot of flash flooding across North Carolina into this next Monday. Then once again, southeast, you have a lot of rain. West Virginia, it's moving through your area by then. By Tuesday, that major part of this disturbance system. Now by your Tuesday night, we have a lot of rain once again across the southeast, because we have a tropical disturbance, if you want to say that, across a lot of these areas up here. And then we do have something brewing down in the Gulf also. So we have a lot of moisture in place to cause a lot of problems. Now, as we get into your Wednesday, this moves across Pennsylvania, and it's moving into the northeast. So as you can remember from the GFS, it did move off right here, but what we're seeing with the European is something like this, and it'll be going off later and cause more problems in the northeast. So this might get its own forecast soon, if this does look like it's going to develop more. But you can see, as I'm moving to your Wednesday night, it's starting to move off, and by your Thursday, it's most likely moving off the northeast coast, causing problems in Maine still, even though it's off the coast. And also in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, we're seeing a lot of stuff going on there. And also by Thursday, around 6 p.m., I'm not going to give a specific time, but by Thursday, we do see a system off of the Louisiana coast. Now, as you can remember, with the GFS, it was over here, both of the systems. But this one is going to be a little bit more west, possibly, with this model at least. It looks a little bit like a berry track, in my opinion. I hope this doesn't happen, but usually the European model is pretty on point. So if it keeps going like this, we will have to see. Now, the GFS, a couple model runs, has been bringing something through Texas also. So instead of it coming through here, the GFS model had it going through Texas also. So we have a lot of range, I would say, with the second system. So anywhere in here, I would do this. We could expect something to happen, possibly make landfall somewhere around there, our second system. This would be Chantel if we don't get if that first system we saw does not develop. If it is, this would be Dorian. So Chantel or Dorian this could be. But you can see by your Friday, it does make landfall. It makes landfall pretty quickly. So it's not like this would be a slow system, it's looking like. But you can see how this will take us almost the same track as Barry, it looks like. Maybe a little bit more east, but we thought that with Barry, and then it turned out to be something way different. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move into the next 10 days of precipitation in the European forecast, European model. And you can see how that first system, we see a lot of rain move through here. And then that second system, we see a lot of rain move through here. And just your daily rain is causing a lot of problems across a lot of the southeast. Now, you might say in Atlanta, it looks like 1 inch of rain. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be 1 inch of rain. I do think we will definitely see way more there. As you can see with the GFS model, we were giving them about 4 to 6 inches of rain. It's just because these model runs, it can just focus on the bigger stuff and kind of leave out the smaller storms. But I am going to tell you, if you're across any of the southeast, especially Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe even Virginia, you need to be on the lookout because this could be very dangerous. Now, the first system, it may be even to the mid-Atlantic and northeast we should be concerned about, but especially the southeast, we could be seeing 2 systems and just a lot of daytime heating and moisture from the Gulf, bringing a lot of problems to the southeast and bringing a lot of rain, which will flood. I promise you we will be seeing a lot of flooding. It's just how much rain will we be seeing. So I will be talking about these systems over the next few days, especially now that this is looking more likely. But yeah, guys, I hope y'all did enjoy this video. Once again, if you did, consider subscribing and leaving a like down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.